What's going on, Beamer fans? Welcome back to Beamer Review. For today's video, we're going to be going over how to use the paddle shifters, and this is one of our first POVs, so definitely stay tuned to the whole thing. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, Beamer Review, what we do here is teach you everything there is to know about BMW. We go over all the hidden tips and tricks. For today's video, this is going to be more of a part 2 to the paddle shifting video that we did in our last one. A lot of people wanted to see a demonstration, live demonstration on how the paddle shifters work. So for this video, I got everything set up, ready to go. We're gonna go hit the road, and I'm gonna show you all how exactly to go about using the paddle shifters, all the little tips and tricks in a live demonstration. A couple of things we're going to be doing for this trip is we're going to be going through all the 3 different ways that you can use the paddle shifters, or all the 3 different gearing systems that BMW has. And what I mean by that is paddle shifters is one, but we also have a drive located right here. And then if I click this down one more time, it brings us into this S mode, or S transmission sequential mode, right over here. So all 3 of them do work a little bit differently, and we're going to be going over all 3 of those different ways and how exactly to use the shifters, when to use them, when to shift, when to upshift, how to come to a stop. So first off, we're going to go into drive. We're going to do things, go over a couple different things you can do in drive, how the paddle shifters work while you're in drive. It all works differently. Again, stay tuned for the whole thing. You don't want to miss this. Let's go ahead and hit the road. So right now we are obviously cruising in drive. One of the things you may want to do is you may want to go into sport mode, and then by doing that, you're able to actually see your RPM or tachometer right here on the right side. So that's one important thing to do, because if you don't do that, you're going to just be seeing a power meter, which doesn't exactly work in tune with paddle shifting. Granted, it may change as soon as you begin to use it, but what I would do is just first quickly just go into sport, just so you have everything here ready to go. Also, do some sort of content view in the middle where you can see your speed on the left and then your driving gear on the right side here, so you can see exactly what's going on here on this side. For the majority of the video, you may want to keep your eyes right around here where we see this D, because that's going to be the part that switches around a whole lot. So definitely just kind of keep your eyes more so around this range and then around this RPM meter that you see right here. And then let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we're in drive. We're just cruising along just like you normally would be. The only thing different compared to what you would usually be doing is that we're in sport. So let's just go straight through some of the different examples on when you may want to use the paddle shifting located here. A lot of times the main question I may get is that what happens, or what do I do if I accidentally tap on the paddle shifters here and then the vehicle goes into a manual mode? So let's just try that real quick. So say for example, I'm driving here and then I accidentally hit the left one. So you can see that the vehicle just went into M4. If you hit it by accident, just try to avoid touching it again for about 15 seconds or so. And then you're gonna notice that the vehicle is just simply gonna go back into drive, because I touched that paddle while I was in drive mode. And then so in about 5 to 10 more seconds, this should go back into drive just like that. You can see that it took about 15 to 20 seconds. But if you don't touch the paddles for that amount of time, roughly speaking, then that will just go back into drive. That is one way to just kind of avoid that altogether if you hit it by accident, which is quite common that happens. So for the next one, we're going to be going over how to manually go back into drive if you accidentally press it. So for the last one, obviously we waited until the vehicle just normally just went back into drive all by itself. But say for example, we want to take more control and then go back to drive ourselves if we accidentally press on the paddle here. All right, so let's go ahead and try this out. So we're in drive, we're just cruising along. We accidentally press or pull on the left shifter here. You can see that the vehicle is in M4 now because I accidentally just pushed on this guy, pulled on this guy right here. Quickly, it went back into drive. So again, that may vary depending on how the driving is. But say for example, if I'm in M4, if I accidentally go into M3, and then if I want to go back into drive, I could wait it out, but I could just hold this right shifter down here and then it will knock me back into drive. So let's say for example, I hit it by accident. I go back into drive by holding down this right paddle here. You can see that by me holding it down, it went back into drive. So say for example, I'm stuck in the manual mode, hold this down, it goes back into drive. Now, in the last video, I talked about BMW sprint mode. Here on the left side where we have our downshifting paddle to go down in gears and go faster, or more aggressive I should say, I talked about this one thing called sprint mode. So where sprint mode is that the vehicle can drop from drive to its lowest possible gear to give you a nice little boost or downshift the transmission for you to go really fast. So right here, I got a straight that is coming up. So let's try sprint mode here. So this left paddle is going to be the one that I pull on. So watch what happens. I'm in normal drive, cruising, and then if I hold this down, you're going to see that it just dropped me down to M2. The RPMs are way up high. Now if I get on the gas, you can see that the vehicle just went ahead and just took off. So that is what sprint mode is. Again, going back into drive, hold this guy down on the right, and then that will do it. So once I take this turn, I'm gonna do sprint mode one more time just so we can see it one more time as a demonstration. So let's just say, for example, I'm cruising here, and then right now I'm just in a normal gear. But if I hold this left one down, I go down to the lowest gear possible, RPMs go up, I get on the gas, and then now I got some power, and then shift. Goes back into drive all by itself. Super, super easy. So that is exactly how sprint mode works while you're in drive. Sprint mode is probably the best to use whenever you are in drive, because if you're in manual mode, it won't exactly work. So that was a couple of different things you can do while you're in drive. Now let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit, no pun intended. And then we're actually gonna go down right down here where we're in drive. And while we're driving, you can just click this guy down one time. It goes into sport or sequential mode. Now what sport transmission, sequential mode is actually this S3 that you see right here now. And I don't have to touch the paddles while I'm in the S1, S2 mode. The vehicle will still shift for me all by itself. It'll just do it more aggressively. But there is a really big difference that this S mode or sequential mode can lead into if I were to turn on if I were to fiddle with the gears again here. The way that I got into S mode was I'm in drive, I shifted it down one time while I'm moving. You can do it while you're stationary. And then it went into this S mode here. S mode, vehicle will shift its own gears. It's just like being in drive, but it will shift more aggressively. So you can still get the best of both worlds here. You can see that if I get on it a little bit, the throttle is very, very responsive, and then it'll actually hold the gear higher. It'll actually hold the RPMs higher and the gear longer, just to make sure that I'm in that sporty engine RPM band where the vehicle can just be ready to go just like that. If I were to do that while I was in drive, it would be a whole lot more slow. I'm in normal drive. Now watch, if I get on the gas pedal here, it won't be the same. It goes like that. But again, if I'm in that S mode, tapping on the paddle here again, down, going back into S mode, the RPMs just went up by a little bit. Here, I step on the gas, and then you can see that the vehicle just wants to go. So that right there is actually the S mode. But here's the really big thing about being in this S mode is that if I were to mess with the paddles now, what it will do is actually hold the gear the whole time that I'm driving the car. It won't go back into drive all by itself. It will only go back into drive if I go down here and then switch it back to drive by pulling down on the paddle one more time. But now we're gonna test it. We're gonna be in this S mode, and then we're gonna go into full manual mode, full paddle shifting mode, where you can completely control your gears just like you would a standard car, manual car, whatever you wanna call it. So let's go ahead and try it now. So we're in S mode. I'm gonna just take manual control now. The way that I do that is just click on whichever paddle, and then you can see right now that I'm in M5 mode or M5 gearing. And then by doing that, now I have to take manual control. So now I'm telling the car what gear to be in. I'm downshifting, I'm upshifting accordingly, depending on the engine speed and the scenario that we're going through here. But let's just say, for example, for this one in manual mode, I'm just gonna drive like a normal human being. I'm gonna be driving kind of like cruising, kind of like how the car normally would be if I was in drive. So this is kind of like me just kind of cruising along. I want to keep the engine RPMs a bit low, just so I'm not really stressing out the engine too much for no reason while I'm just going straight. So I would purposely just kind of keep the engine RPM band very, very low. Now let's just say, for example, I'm about to either go really fast or slowly come to a stop. Now I can downshift into M4, and then you can just see that the engine RPM just went up by a little bit. And then you can also hear the engine a little bit too. And then if I were to jump on the gas a little bit, you can see that it does want to go a little bit fast. If I was in M3 mode, if I go like that, now the engine RPM is even higher. Now it really wants to go. But let's just say if I want to go really fast, if I drop it down to M2, and then now it really, really wants to go. So that is kind of how manual shifting works. Right here, again, I just want to be cruising along, so I'm gonna purposely be in a higher gear. The engine's not really stressed out, ready to go, and I'm getting good fuel efficiency this way too. The higher that this red line is going up, using more engine power because you're in a lower gear, the more gas you're gonna consume too. So keep in mind that this is usually more used for sporty driving. Here I'm downshifting because I'm about to take a turn. So I'm in M2, I'm gonna take this turn, and then I'm gonna go ahead again, and then you can see that my gearing is still in M2 because I never shifted yet. But if I want to, again, hit that guy, now I'm back to a regular cruising scenario. So right here, I'm just cruising along, just normally. I could probably go into M4 one more time just to be in a more comfortable driving scenario. Right here, I have to slow down a little bit, so I'm gonna downshift a gear, and then now I'm in M3, and then now I'm still back in my cruising again. And then you can see that my engine RPM is going back up again, so I wanna be back down low just to be in a nice cruising situation. Now right here in the back roads, I'm gonna take a little bit slow, but as soon as we get to the open back road way down there, I will show everyone exactly how to kind of shift if you were on a track or trying to go a little bit fast. Keep in mind, this is a closed course, please drive responsibly. But right here, we're just gently coming to a slower part of the road. I'm in M4, say for example, I wanna slow it down a little bit, drop it down to M3, and then now I'm just going even a bit slower, just slowly around this bend. And then I'm going, my engine RPM is a little bit too low, so I wanna bring that back up just a little bit. Then I'm right here, I'm picking up speed, I'm shifting. Now I'm in M3. Now this is what you would do if you want to go a little fast. Drop it down to M2, the engine RPM goes up a little high, but you can see that the gear will hold, and if I get on the gas, I can go really fast. And then shift, back down, downshift, and then now you can actually come to a stop in M2 as well. So right here, we're just gonna come to a stop. You don't have to go into M1. And then by doing this, you can come to a nice smooth stop, and then you won't feel a necessary jerk. Say for example, if you were in M2 and then you dropped it down to M1, you see how the vehicle just did a nice little jerk there. So that is one of the reasons why you kind of want to come to a stop while you're in M2 mode. So for the next part of the video, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and just kind of go about shifting the gears just like I normally would. I'm gonna demonstrate some nice cruising scenarios where we're just going slow, and then after that, I'll try to pick up the speed a little bit. Again, whenever you're doing all this, please drive responsibly. You may just want to start this off in a parking lot, but yes, obey all traffic laws, and please be safe while you're doing all this stuff. It can be a little bit tricky whenever you're trying it out. Some people may get scared doing this, so just practice in a parking lot first, and then treat it like you're kind of just trying to relearn how to drive, because this can be a little bit tricky if you don't know how to shift your own gears like a manual car. So I'm gonna come to a slow down. I'm gonna downshift a little bit. I'm gonna take this turn because it's my right of way. You can see right now I'm still in M2 mode. I'm just driving along. I could go into M3. I'm slowing down, go back into M2. Got to take this right turn here, so I'm gonna do that. You can do that while you're still in M2 here. So the camera did just die, really weird. Probably happened for a good reason, but I did pull over. We're gonna do this quick demonstration with me not saying a word, and then we're gonna come to a close. So let me try to hurry up and do that. Apparently the camera got a little too hot. I'm not sure if that was due to a software update or something, but that was a little weird. All right, I'm gonna hop back onto the road here, and then again, I'm gonna not say a word, but you're gonna watch me kind of go slow, and then as I pick up the pace, I'm gonna start shifting more aggressively. So we're in drive. I'm gonna knock it down into manual mode. I'm in S. I touched the paddle. Now I'm in manual. Just downshifted there because I'm coming to a slower speed. Still in M2, and then there's gonna be a red light here. You don't always have to shift so quickly. It's completely fine for it to just kind of hover a little high. It's not gonna be a big deal, but here I am. And so watch me kind of go about shifting here now. I'm in M1, cruising, went up to M4. I'll keep it around here, maybe drop it down to M5 a little bit. Now I'm going at a normal pace. If I wanted to go fast, say for example, there's a car right in front, I can drop it down a gear, probably M3 or M2, pass the car, shift, come back to normal. All right, now I'm gonna be quiet. I know I said that like 4 times now. Okay, here we go. Another thing to mention, I know I'm not supposed to say a word, but see how I'm going down a hill? If it was icy, I could actually use engine braking to kind of go down this thing really, really slow, kind of like this. If I'm in a low gear while I'm going down a hill, the vehicle will use its engine to brake for me rather than me relying on the brakes. because essentially this could be a safer way to go down a really steep icy hill if you were to just be in a really low gear. All right, now let's have some fun. So that was some cruising there, and now let's go a little bit aggressive, nothing too insane, but let's try it. So right here I'm going to come to a slow down. I'm going to take this left here. I'm in M3, drop it down one more time, look around, be safe, make sure nobody's coming. And then for this portion of the video, I can go a little bit more aggressive here. So let's try doing that. Coming to a stop, downshift, M2, blinker on, stop at the stop sign, make sure traffic is clear, take our sweet time. So for this part of the road is quite closed off, so we're just gonna go ahead and go. So that part there was a good example if you were trying to pass a car or be on an on-ramp. Right here, gotta take this right, M3, downshift again, come to a slow, take a hard right, shift, just cruising along. But yes, whenever you're driving aggressively, this red line that you see right here is kind of exactly where you want to shift. Again, this is more for if you're on a track, closed course. Whenever you want to go really fast, you want to shift right in between the 6 and 7, and right where you see this red line here is right before it, you want to shift. And that's what you would do if you were driving really aggressively. And then as mentioned in my previous video, if you are someone who were trying to drive through snow, one of the things that could be quite beneficial to you is if you drive off in M2 mode. I want to actually demonstrate that as soon as I get back to the parking lot. But a lot of people could do this if you want to. You don't necessarily have to. 9 out of 10 times you don't. But if you wanted to have a smoother start whenever you're in the snow about to drive off, you could drive off in M2 rather than M1. If you go off in M1, it'll cause your vehicle to slip a little bit, but still be fine. If you go off in M2, it'll go off a lot more slower, a lot more smooth, with more traction in the snow. So that, again, I'll demonstrate as soon as I get back to the parking lot. We're just gonna safely get there. But you can see here, I'm just driving down this road, slowing down, drop it down to M3, and I'm still going to a slow down here. Slowing down a little bit more, drop it down to M2, blinker on, and then we're gonna take this left here. So great, my GoPro did die again, which is quite unfortunate. The last thing that I was gonna mention is how you can be in manual mode, like so right here, M1. So this is how the car would normally take off if you were in this manual gear, or even if your driving gear would still be number 1 as well. But if you want to go in a smoother way, start in the snow or ice, pop this into M2, and then if you just begin to go, it will just go at a nice steady pace. But yeah, just keep in mind that once you do get going, you may just want to go back into drive. I did just have to switch off cars right now. But yes, everyone, if you all did have any questions about paddle shifting, please feel free to comment down below. I'm doing a pretty good job of staying up to date with comments on all the new videos, so please comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out the BMW key fob covers that are located right at the bottom of the video. We are selling out like crazy, so make sure you protect your $900 BMW key fob. Again, like the video, subscribe. I'll see you all for the next one. Thank you for watching.